Hello everyone, today is February 6th, 2025. It's currently 8:29 a.m. with 30 more seconds before market opens. So as you see, this is my support level right here in this blue box right here. So I'm going to go ahead and box in my pre-market high and pre-market low for today. And as far as what I'm seeing that the EMAs are aligned to the upside, but we're going to use that information to drop down. We're going to use that information to drop down to the 5-minute chart and assess what we need to do today. So let's go. Market is open now. And so we have a no trade zone right here. And we're just going to see basically what happens. Now all the EMAs are aligned properly, but we're running into the fact that we have a previous high and a previous low right here. So that is considered my no trade zone. So I want to see what's going to happen here before I try to react. Now we have a big red candle right here. And I will tell you on the 4-hour chart, now we are at a resistance type level on the 4-hour chart, and what has been happening, it comes into support right here in this blue area, it bounces up, it comes back into the support area, it bounces up. Now it needs to come back down to make a higher low if we're going to see it shoot on up, you know, past the 530 area. Okay, but right now, based on the pattern, it's due to do a pullback. But we'll have to wait and see until the EMAs align properly to see if we're going to have that pullback. So let's go to 131 to see how the EMAs properly align to get us that pullback that we needed. So we're going to January 31st. Here we are. Let's see if we got any.
Damn, done?
Okay. Let's see if we got any proper alignment to get us into a trade to the downside. Now we do, we're at the resistance. We're at the resistance. There goes my son. As usual, every morning. 8:30. So it comes up, it does a cross of the 5 and 13 over the 48, and you can catch it to the downside. So, okay, so we have the fact that we are in our uptrend here. There you go. You know, I forgot to look and see if it broke down over my downtrend line on the 31st. So let me go back. Let me go back and look at that. Okay, so yes, it broke down past my uptrend line on the previous uptrend that we had. So if it can break below the trend line, I would feel better jumping into. Basically what happened is it shot up and then it shot back down past our no trade zone of pre-market. So you got that cross up and it took off, and then you got that cross down and it just lost everything here. Okay, so definitely be aware of your no trade zones so that you don't get caught up in the wrong direction. Be back in a bit. Alright, so all the EMAs are still aligned, but we're running into a kind of a resistance area over here. So I'm not going to get in this. I'm not getting in until I can see that it has the momentum to break out of here, and then I'll decide what I'm going to do. But yeah, these red candles are, stay away from those. Got another red candle incoming here. Price is trying to hold above the 5 and the 13 EMA. Let's see if it can hold. It is kind of struggling here. Definitely stay out of this, okay? Alright, price retested the resistance area again, and now it's plummeting again. So let's see where this goes. I'm just off doing things around the house and just coming back intermittently and just seeing where things are going and what's happening. So it's making higher highs and higher lows, but it has a resistance area here that is kind of tough. It's kind of tough. So what I would like to see is a breakdown. And if it's going to go ahead and shoot through, I'd like to see a breakdown and then a cross back up to the upside and break out of this area with a free candle. Okay. And if it's going to go to the downside, then of course I'd have to wait for all the EMAs to align properly before I even think about getting into any puts. So definitely make sure that you're sticking with your strategy. And you know, I know these candles are tempting, but resist the urge, resist the FOMO. FOMO will get you in trouble. I'll be back on in a bit. All right, I just came back from doing my 20-minute weightlifting workout. It was intense. I'm sweating like crazy, but I took care of my health for today. I did my 2-mile walk. I did my 20 minutes of weightlifting, high intensity weightlifting, so many reps. And I'm currently in a fasted state since 6 p.m. yesterday. And yes, I'm in a fasted state doing all of that exercising. I guess you can call it dry fasting, but it definitely works. All right, so back to these charts. It still hasn't broken down past my diagonal brown trend line right there. But you can also see where the 5 and 13 have crossed down, but it's still, the 13 is still sitting above the 48 EMA. We're still in our no trade zone. You know, nothing much going on the charts right now. I have not placed a trade. I will not place a trade until I see something that is kind of confirmation of which direction this is going. Right now it's just kind of consolidating in the same area, and you definitely don't want to get caught in something like this because you never know which direction it's going to go. And if it just so happens to go in the direction that you chose, you definitely got lucky. Please don't do that again, because that type of trading will get you losing all of your money and it'll make you have a bad day. So I'm going to keep watching these charts. I'll come back on in a little while, or whatever, you know, more changes take place, I'll get back on and explain what's happening. Until then, excuse me, until then, be smart on the charts. All right, so I have not been back on these charts since I just, you know, got off, but on the video. But I just came back and did break down past my diagonal line right here. And we're on the 5-minute chart, but still the EMAs are misaligned. We have the 5 and 13 sitting between the 48 and the 200. So I'm not all the way convinced that this is ready to break down. I will say that if this breaks under here, it'll be ready. Okay, so maybe it'll do it today. Maybe it'll do after market close or in pre-market, or maybe tomorrow. I don't know. But definitely I stayed out of the market today because we had a resistance area up here that just couldn't be broken, and a support level, you know, down here as well. So always mark your pre-market high and pre-market low. Make sure your EMAs are aligning, and be aware of support and resistance, and you'll make the right trades. Okay, so don't take the wrong trades. Be smart on the chart. I'll come back later. Once again, I've had plenty of time to do stuff around the house because it's just because there just isn't anything happening here. So getting a little tongue tied there. So it's already, you know, 2 o'clock Central Time. So we got 59 more minutes to see if anything's going to happen. But we'll see. Oh, and I forgot to come to the 1-hour chart to show you all what's going on up here. So we have the 5 and 13 sitting above the 48 and the 200. All the EMAs are aligned, but once again, we could not break through the resistance up here. So it did break back down. It's currently sitting, it came down to the support right here, as I stated, you know, on the 5-minute chart, and it bounced back up. So I would say that, you know, we need to see if we're going to get across of the 5 and 13 to see if we can trade this to the downside. And in addition to that, in order to trade the 5 and 13 EMA cross, you have to make sure that on the 5-minute chart, the EMAs are aligned properly. Because without the alignment of the EMAs on the 5-minute chart, the 5 and 13 cross will not be valid. Okay, so that's just something I've learned from watching the market, engaging the market, and seeing different patterns here and there. So that's what I'm going with, and you know, we'll see what happens. Another thing I've also noticed is that it usually takes the 5 and 13 EMA breakdown a while to complete, but once it does go, you know, you got an awesome move to catch part of. Okay, so another level we are looking at is the 4-hour chart right here, 4-hour chart. And so we have dipped into this, support level area right here, many times over and over and over again since, let's see, the first occurrence was back in November. The next occurrence was December. The next occurrence was January. Next occurrence was mid-January. And then we had another occurrence, end of January. And then we have one beginning of January that happened. So, we're trying to beat, here's support, here's resistance areas up here. The highest we've gotten to is 538.28. It's been trying to get back up there and get back up there, just hasn't made it, and we're having these lower highs, every time we come up. So this one still hasn't made it back up here. So if this just completes as a lower high, I would expect for price to dip back down into the support area once again. So, it's always good to keep your drawings on your chart. And even if I were to erase all of these, I still know where to put them back at, if I accidentally erase them. So once you get to the point where you know where everything is and you can just look at it and see what things are, you can most definitely make better, choices in what you're doing. So as you can see, these black boxes, these are my pre-market highs and pre-market lows that I'm mapping out on. So if we were to go back in time, and let's just take a time where I marked a pre-market high and a pre-market low. So one really good one that I see is about right here. There's pre-market high and there's a low. Here's a low right here if we go back here. So here's a low that we were hitting at. We're on the 4-hour chart. And here's a high that we were hitting at. Okay, so once you drop down, let's see, what date is that? The 13th, 14th. Let's go to the 1-hour chart. Let's go to the 13th and the 14th. Oh, I'm too far back. 13th and the 14th. Here we go. Okay, so it's hitting up pre-market. And we had already had a low right here where it broke out of, what was going on here, this downtrend. So we got a break of this downtrend right here. You can see that. I'm going to make that black. We got a break of that downtrend and it started a new trend right here. So it bounced up to a height and we had to see the pullback right here. So here's the height of it and we had to wait for it to come back down to the previous area that it broke out of right here. So it came down, then it went up, we got a cross right here, and it was able to bust out of that area and create a new high up there. It's just creating patterns. You got to get used to looking at the chart and seeing the pattern and everything. And once you get used to that, you'll be able to trade a lot better. It hasn't been easy getting to this point and being able to see exactly and explain exactly what's going on the charts right here. It's taken me a lot of watching and seeing patterns and different changes and different reactions and different everything. I don't think I would recommend anyone be a trader. This has been a long road. I will recommend it to anyone who's just ready, to put in the long hours, the hard work. You're really dedicated. You're really trying to understand what's going on the chart. You're just really someone who's able to get locked in and, persevere and push through no matter, how hard it is. I have that type of mentality. So in that case, I would say if you're someone who's not a quitter and you're always trying to solve problems, trading is definitely for you. But if you're someone who has to be reminded to do everything and you're not on top of things in your life, you're always dysfunctional and disorganized, I would not, recommend that you try trading, because you've got to be responsible in your daily life, because that can trickle over into your trading life. So your mindset really matters in trading. It really does matter. And I definitely do think that is the biggest thing that makes people, quit trading and become, not successful. So if you have a mentality to just no matter how hard it gets just to keep going, I think you'll be okay in trading. But you got to find your passion in life. Trading is my passion, so everyone's passion isn't the same. Other people, they have different passions that I wouldn't be successful at. I may not have the personality for it. I may have no interest in it, but find something in life that you enjoy doing, that you really and truly love, that really, really resonates with you. And you'll find that thing that you can be prosperous at, even if it isn't trading. You'll find that thing that you're great at that can really make an impact and a difference in the world and other people's lives, okay? So don't feel like, if you can't figure out trading, don't ever feel like, you're not great at anything. You are great at something. Every human being on this planet is great at something. You just got to figure out what that is. And the thing about it, finding what you're great at is a personal journey. Nobody else can tell you what you're great at. You've got to identify, you've got to understand, you've got to see what your true value is, you got to see what your true worth is, you got to understand yourself mentally, physically, emotionally. You got to understand you, no one else. And if you can get that and understand that, it'll lead you very far in life, okay? To living a very prosperous and happy life, all right? So I'll come back on in a little bit. All right, I'm back on again, and market has officially closed for the day, but I just got back on to see what was going on and what happened. So price never made it out of my no trade zone, which was up here and down here. Even to the downside, if it, even though it was breaking down, the EMAs didn't align to the downside. So what does it look like for the EMAs to align to the downside? Well, the 200 EMA will be on top, the 48 will be under it, and then the 13 would be under that, and then the 5 would be under that. And they would have crossed, the way they should have crossed and done their things and went on down to the downside. But I do not trade to the downside when the EMAs are sitting above the 200 EMA right here. So this is a no-go to trade to the downside. I don't care how nice it looks. You don't know how far it's going to go down. And with these EMAs still above the 200 EMA and it's going down, the EMAs that are on top have the ability to pull price back up, and that's exactly what happened right here. Okay, you would have been thinking that, hey, I'm gonna jump in for some puts. You would have got in for those puts and it bounced right back up. Okay, so don't do that. Okay. And the fact that it couldn't break my resistance area up here at 528.50 was another reason I didn't get in, even though these EMAs were aligning. So I was waiting for a candle to break away here. Not a red candle, that's touching anyways right there. But I was waiting for a green candle to be up here somewhere, as well as the EMAs to be aligned properly to the upside, as well as to see if there was a cross happening on the 1 hour chart somewhere, but there wasn't. So, this is a day I just sat out. I kept my gains from the past 2 days, and I'm happy about that. I was able to rent a car that I needed. I needed to go out of town, so I was able to rent a car with some of the money that I made the past few days, and it feels good. I can't wait to make more money and, be able to do even more things. So that's a great feeling. So do the right thing, be smart on the charts, and you'll definitely make some gains and profits. This is very hard to do, so, if you're someone who's going to do it the right way, all right? So I'm going to go ahead and end this video. Like I said, nothing happened today, so we'll log on tomorrow at market open at 8:30 Central Time and see where this thing wants to go. Is it gonna plummet down, or is it gonna try to break through here and shoot to the upside? We don't know. We can't predict what the market does. We can just get in for the ride. All right, I will talk to y'all tomorrow.